One thing I would throw out there is that there seems to be very, and I've said this to just about everybody, is that there's very clear divided lines on how people feel about all of this, and that splitting up evenly like that it will destroy this guild, to me, in my opinion, and that's not in my interest, and I don't think it's in anybody else's, really. Um, Obviously, this is my opinion too, so this is not actually like speaking for anybody. It seems like that there's some people that feel very uncomfortable by the way, like the mannerisms that go on in chats or in vent or during raids. Like I've said, I've had thick skin. Damon yelling at people doesn't really affect me. Um, and other people have said also that Damon, with the attitude that he has towards raids, it keeps people in check and that we get stuff done. So there's two different sides there. I would say that the best compromise would be really, well, one is the ability for any of us to be able to step down in a position if there's any kind of demand for it. And then number two is that we could compromise to the fact that maybe we, at least maybe for you, Damon, is the way you talk to people, but keeping the competitive, idea going on in raids.
Right. I mean, I understand that, and that is something that was brought up to me before, and I made a very serious conscious effort to kind of hold my tongue more often. And if people haven't been able to see that in the last couple months, I don't know what to say. I mean, I haven't been even remotely the same. If people feel that I'm still doing all the same things I was doing before, like at least I've tried to make changes, whereas a lot of the other problems have just stayed the same. And I'm still like my biggest thing, and I don't get emotional and cry, but I've felt for a long time that just I take a lot of the shit on myself when people are unhappy in this guild, and I just take it and accept it. And if someone needs to hate someone, like they can hate me. And I feel like I've had to play bad cop just to keep order and peace at times, and uh, it's not exactly easy on me either. And I don't mind that people can get upset with me or take it out on me, but it's just like to one day log on and just be demoted out of nowhere because it wasn't like we had a discussion about rotating out officers. It was Sarah got on and was like, "I'm rotating you out." Like I don't know how exactly I was supposed to respond to that, but it really came out of nowhere for me.
I
And
just
then
want to
I
say
think
one
there's
thing really quick. Back in Sunwell is when we first started talking about this whole thing with Damon and putting people down. I was the one who jumped up and said, okay, this needs to stop. And I just want to say flat out that since that point, I have yet to hear in Vent Channel when I've been around. I don't know every time because I have missed raids with my work schedule and whatnot, but I have yet to hear in Vent Damon actually drop the F-bomb on somebody because they screwed up. I know that I don't doubt that it's probably happened. I've said it myself when I ran my own raid, because I do run one of the 10-mans, but I do know that he has made an extreme improvement from that day that I spoke up during the Sunwell raid.
I
Yeah,
would
that's
say
true.
that
My
in
bad, got
the
up.
25 man, that's true, but Damon's worst explosions on people will always happen one on one or in a small group. And some of
That's
those
where it
worst
should
ones
happen.
have happened recently.
When you
If it's
say
gonna happen in a personal thing, that's when it's gonna happen. It shouldn't be brought up during the 25-man thing, or even the 10-man. If it does happen in 10-man, that needs to change. But if it happens on a personal level, then it needs to be dealt with on a personal level. It shouldn't be escalated to the point where it is now, where we're all discussing it. And if it's really gotten to a problem where even on the person level it's too much, then it should have been dealt with a while ago, not waited this long until it's basically causing us to stop rating and caused us to sit here voting on who should be new officers. It should have been dealt with weeks, months, whatever ago.
right. And I would say there's two different things though. Is that we want to split up, the form and the way things were handled versus what is actually being disputed. I would agree that maybe, well, not maybe, I think everything could have been handled better last night. And that this one other thing too is that I think Valk said something about me becoming an officer. I've told everybody I don't give a shit. Like Sarah Lynn asked me just for strategy advice in a melee environment, and I'll do that as whatever ranking. It doesn't really matter. So, but beyond that, I think that just people just don't feel comfortable. And I mean that just, at least I think you're completely right that it's never really happened in 25-mans is bad. I mean, obviously there's been some comments, but nothing to the extent that I've heard other raid leaders yell. But that if there's been big problems in like 10-mans, our focus is 25. And if the group compositions in really small groups isn't correct, then maybe we need to look at that and reform that, because I'm not understanding why 6 or so people can't compromise for the betterment of everyone. And I think there's a couple polarizing things too. It seems like the impression of some people is that, like Damon and Angel, I'm just saying this, I'm going and I might kind of sound like I'm on Sarah Lynn's side, and I don't mean to be. I guess it's just questions to you guys so you can answer them. Is that you guys are more focused on the power that is brought upon by being officers than actually just playing. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Hold on one second. I think that's a little bit out of line of you to even say, because how is it power to me? You should know, and you're standing here telling me I provide enchants for people so the guild could better, for people who can't afford it or just whatever. I have bought your enchant mats with my gold to do this for the guild. I have crafted all the cloth frost resist for Naxxramas. I have done a lot of tailoring, enchanting, and everything I can do, running people through heroics or whatever, whoever wants me to heal, and you're standing here telling me I'm power hungry.
Furthermore,
I'm not. I'm just saying there are feelings that have been presented.
Right. Well,
this is interesting because now I'm being yelled at. I mean, come on, give me a break. Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, I guess I think Alice is just really frustrated because one of our biggest complaints is that as officers we didn't really have any authority or power to do anything. I mean, Sarah Lynn pretty much does everything on his own, like deciding to up and demote us. And when it came to like the last month or so, I felt like there was no reason for me to even be an officer in the first place because I couldn't do anything. I mean, other than run DKP, which isn't so much a power thing as it is a giant nuisance and annoyance. And it's something I did because it needed to be done at the time. And hey, if anyone wants to run DKP, I mean, be my guest. It's a giant pain in my ass.